Yo, what's up? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of radness. I'm here with Gary Trelease, but I'm also here with Mike Sugars. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. I'm super excited to do this one.
Hell yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Absolute bloody pleasure to have you, mate. I just wanted to check. I went into my messages earlier. I wanted to check. I'm pretty sure we spoke a long ass time ago, and I looked, and it was when we covered the Church Tongue EP forever ago, and you were so bloody nice. You reached out of the blue and was like, hey, I listened to this review and I really appreciated it, and I was just, it blew my mind. I was so goddamn happy.
Yeah, no, I distinctly remember because it was whenever Church Tongue put out Hell is Empty, so we're talking 2018. You probably did the episode early 2019 since we dropped in December.
Sick drop time.
Yeah, it's a real shoot ourselves in the foot on purpose moment, but we didn't care.
Yeah, that's the attitude.
So yeah. But,
I remember specifically, it was one of those releases where it came out in the sort of weird Christmassy limbo-y period where everyone's off work and time doesn't really exist and things just happen and you're like, shit, this incredible record's come out, but we need to talk about it straight away.
And no one else is anyone that wants to be pro or do this for real or whatever, right? Most people just aren't putting out music in this period. And that was our only angle, is we were nice. Well, we'll be maybe one of 5 people.
Yeah, the ears are empty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just if anyone does want something new, the pickings are slim. So let's do it. Could we have done something smarter? Sure. But I don't know. I remember that release process and all the moving parts to try and get that thing out. And I think we were just so no, we want it out. We've kind of had it for too long as it is, sitting in our own, files, just not able to, share it and put it out, that we were just no, we're just throwing the Hail Mary. I don't care. So, but the reason why look, we were a very small band. So anyone kind of giving us any coverage was already slim as it was. And I can say confidently, you guys were the first group of people ever across the pond, outside of our own country, that ever took notice and said anything. So
sick. We'll take that.
I mean,
yeah,
we're pretty
so
close.
I was just okay, thank God.
It probably blew your minds. A couple of geezers just noshing down beans on toast, listening to Church Tongue.
Yeah, but
I was with our little fingers in the air and just
But I was grateful for it because I was finally breaking through to some ears and
hell yeah.
I loved the review. I could tell you guys cared and really sunk into the record a bit, and I was just this is what it's all about, so
yeah,
we try, man. We try.
I remember specifically, I was I already love this record, but I think the thing that sold it for me was I'm just an idiot, so it was the Hellraiser clip. I was this is the sickest thing I've heard. Of course it is.
Yeah. Not our idea. That was Greg, our producer. He went ahead and threw that in. So Greg's studio is any horror fans walking dream. His entire studio floor is just full of a lot of posters and things like that. But he also has this one end of a hallway that is filled with just these movie quality replica masks and stuff, and
nice.
Pinhead being one of them and stuff. He is deep in that shit. So
love that.
That's cool.
Fantastic. So yeah, we're here to talk about Psycho Frame, dude.
Yeah, we've talked about my other band. So.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about it a little bit more. Do not worry about that. We will not waste such a chance. But Psycho Frame, mate. Psycho Frame is absolutely popping off. I love what you guys are doing. It's it's crazy, like, to think where you are at right now, and considering the band, like, sort of on paper has existed for only a couple of years, and you're, you know, just going into the release of the first album that's coming out in a couple of weeks. It's fantastic.
It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous.
I feel like Psycho Frame has just absolutely hit the ground running. You guys are playing this brilliant music that I feel that there's a perfect storm of, like, fans available to that music, people that are interested in listening to that right now. I feel like there's, you know, you've got this ingrained, like, nostalgia factor for, like, people of our age that are like, oh shit, they're going back, like they're like bludgeoned to death too right now, right? This is
yeah.
But so you've got that thing where it's just obviously, like, nostalgia sells, like, we all love it, it's what we want, really. Or, you know, really, I just want to sit down and watch Keenan and Kel and like, you know, like, you just want to get back to that, and you're giving people that plus more. And then you've also got, like, the sort of the younger people, to which that little era is just far enough away now for that to almost be like a cool vintage thing for them to dig into, like this sort of MySpace thing. So it's I feel like there's a real perfect storm of availability for you guys, and it just seems to be resonating so well, mate. I mean, that's not really a question, is it?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, things are going better than anyone expected, and, like, I'm super grateful for that. You know, like, this band is, like, already achieved so many milestones that, like, you know, like, I've been around, you know, I'm not, you know, like, a young kid, I'm 30, you know, like, so, like, I know what it looks like for bands to be around for a couple of years to, like, hit these kinds of milestones. And, like, you know, I think a lot of that is in due part just to, like, how around all of the guys that make up Psycho Frame have been.
Yeah, you guys have done the miles, haven't you? You've all been in other successful projects, and
yeah, like, we've done other things, and, like, you know, so, like, I do think, like, some of that carries over, like, into the inception of this band and, like, going forward as it, like, kind of does its own thing. But like, yeah, man, like, I mean, we really are just trying to make something that is, like, true to ourselves and, like, true to, like, what we want to hear out of a band that's trying to do this kind of music. And that, even going into this record, like, we weren't trying to, like, reinvent our wheel or, like, you know, do something insanely, like, I guess, like, unexpected of us. But at the same time, like, going into the record, we hadn't felt like we had fully actualized, like, what we thought was what we set out to do from the beginning. But in the record, I think we did it. And so that's why, you know, it felt pretty important to wait on doing an LP. You know, like, the band is still so young, but, like, at the same time, like, we didn't want to be like, here's this whole thing, you know, like, so I think we did the right thing in putting out some, like, EPs first, and like, you know, like, it's enjoyable. I love those songs, stuff like that. But, like, that's still, to me now, contextually, when I go to that and, like, A to B it, like, that era to the record, I'm like, no, you can see it. You can see
it's mad to think that was your demo phase, realistically, you know, like, you
yeah, like, and again, like, we just didn't intend for the band to be what it is already. And, like, again, we just wanted to make what we wanted to hear, what we felt like we weren't hearing, and what we knew that we were capable of. And then the more that we made, the more that we did it, and, like, the more that we put the reps on, like, making and putting these songs out, we realized, like, what worked, what didn't work, and, like, how we push that even further. And, you know, like, even when it comes to, like, say, like, the nostalgia effect that the band has on people, like, saying like, we bring out like a feeling that like harkens back to the 2000s, like the bands that were like we're talking about the proto bands, like, the guys that like really shaped and created this thing or were the face of this thing. Like, and when people say that kind of stuff, it's like, I'm really grateful for it. I don't necessarily feel like deserving of that yet, because like to me, like we're talking about like legends that like, they crafted this thing. And us,
their
like,
idea. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and us, we're just like, we're pulling from the same well that they pulled from. Like, we are not trying to make something that feels, I don't know, like we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not, but we're still, I don't know, we're just making the thing that we want.
Just
and
slapping some absolutely sick, like 19-inch spinners on the wheel, aren't you? That's kind of what it is. It's just taking what they did in those days. And
You're just tripping the wheel out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm just putting some rims on it.
Yeah. You got a TV on your TV in the back, like
exactly.
You're pimping the ride, dude.
Yeah, exhibits
exactly
around for sure.
That's actually, this is actually probably the best way to say it. That resonates with me.
Is there also an element of, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there's this like, it's in Deathcore, there was this kind of, you saw the direction of it was getting more and more sort of bombastic. There were more bands just doing everything symphonic and enormous, and it was just kind of becoming like really just silly. And was there an element of you kind of going like, I listen to these bands and I feel like I need to strip it back a bit to what it was like, the roots of it? You know how there was the kind of the old school death metal like movement that kind of came in a few years ago. You got your Sanguisuga Bogs and your 200 Stab Wounds going like, no, let's go back.
All awesome.
Back to the well. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly the move. That was the motive from the start. Like, we were just like, dude, strip this thing back. Like, we're just talking guitar, bass, drums, and vocals.
And
like
enormous subdrops.
Enormous subdrops. Yeah.
Enormous subdrops.
Yeah.
Belligerent subdrops.
Like, yeah, that's all we got. So like, even live, like this band's playing through cabs, this like, it's, pretty common. Yeah. We just did this last tour with Angel Maker, and, I've got all these people, that we're on tour with, and they're like, just get rid of the cabs. Like, you guys can just plug straight into the PA. And I'm like, I know we can, but we're not going to do it. And like every single one of these bands that we toured with, that, like, these guys are all on ears. They're all doing things that are super pro, and they're amazing live. Like, I'm not knocking them like in any way, but like, we really mean it when we're stripped back. Like, no one in this band is on ears. I've got earplugs in, and I'm flying blind kind of thing. So like, we were just like, we're gonna be a band. That's it. Like, what you see is what you get kind of thing. And nice. We didn't want like, we don't want any frills. We don't want like, we just don't want to do too much. Like, to us, like, we're just like, no, man, I've got riffs and breakdowns and bass drops. That's what I got.
Hell yeah. That's so cool. That's so refreshing. Like, everyone just wants to throw, you've already got 6 members. You don't need a 7th one. There's the laptop, do you? You don't want to be that band. Like,
yeah, just
taking it back, and just the musicality kind of speaks for itself that way, doesn't it? It's not all like, oh, the 70% of what you hear coming out of the stage speakers is a
laptop
backing track. Like, it's you're getting a proper experience. Are you saying you don't use in-ears, so you can get the feel back from everybody else? You're not like basically in a bubble. Like, that's really refreshing attitude to hear. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, and like those things, like as a show goer, as a fan, like those are things that can turn me off. There's things, I mean, you can win me over for sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I've had a million bands win me over, and I'm just like, nah, you guys just kick ass. I don't, like
Yeah.
I'm not super strict about it or anything, but like prove it to me like a little, like that's kind of how I feel. But we were just like, no, we're just like, we're gonna be as raw and as much of a band's band like as we can be.
Nice. So yeah, like on the conception of the band, I want to talk about like the idea. I think a sick idea was to have such a iconic logo. Like what you have is very sort of, it's just like a cool icon rather than your band name, and it's just so immediately recognizable. I feel like that was such a sick decision. Like, there aren't many bands out there that before they released their debut album, people have already got the tattoo. Like that was an absolute cheat code. Like I know there's a guy that I know, Calvin, shout out Calvin, he's a huge fan of your band. He's got the tattoo on him. He even you dropped the new song and there's a part and he thought it said, "I'll watch you burn," and he just got it tattooed on him straight away. It turns out it was "I watch you bleed," which is so much more funny. So he's like effectively got two Psycho Frame tattoos, and you like the album's not even here yet, which is unreal. That sort of like resonance. Like shout out Calvin, absolute legend.
I'll write a song in the future and I'll give him the lyric, and then I'll fit that in. We'll make it right. I'll save him on that one.
That is the ultimate tattooed like fix up job ever. So you get you to write the lyrics.
I'll take this into my own hands.
You're a good man, Mike. You're a good man.
But when it comes to like the logo and people getting it tattooed and stuff, like, so typically, right, like when people get like a tattoo like associated with a band, people usually make their own spin on it. They have an artist draw something up for them. Maybe they add a lyric, whatever. Dude, getting a band's logo tattooed on you is crazy.
It's so sensitive. It's brave.
It's crazy because like I love the logo. Like, like when we got that, all drafted up, drawn up, the whole thing, like I was like, I mean, this is it. Like, like this is absolutely it. And it's a sick logo. Like it, it's great. And it actually is based on the thing that we named the band after, which is Psycho Frame. And that's, that's our reference is a Gundam. Our name is a Gundam reference. And so like, there's like, you can find it on Google. Like there's like Psycho Frame schematics or whatever. And like, it's not hard to find. You'll see like the schematic and you'll see the shape of the thing. Like it's, it's like a hexagon. And that was Hunter's idea. He was like, what if you made something kind of following this or whatever? And it came out just looking so cool and like, whether you're a fan or not, or I mean, most people that like, make the connection that that's where we started with it. Like they don't even recognize it at first. And then sometimes I see people are like, oh my God, it literally is the Psycho Frame. Like, and they're like, I love it so much more for that, and that's cool. And it came out so cool. And like, the fact that people like get it tattooed, I've met plenty of people that like, have it tattooed on them. And I'm just like, that's crazy work to get a logo, but like
that's respect. Like, that's
cool. Like I love it, like, and again, like, I'm just like, gratitude, like, thank you. Like that's crazy. That it's crazy that like those people are like so dedicated, because like it translates in other ways than getting a tattoo. Like those people participate when we're playing and they're seeing us. Like I see them singing along. I see, people mosh or whatever. And, maybe I talk to them before or after the show, but like, I'm like that guy's in, like, so it's so
Getting the
cool.
beer off the rider.
Yeah. Whatever you want, man. You want You want one of my DCs? I'll pull it out of the fridge for you.
Hell yeah. Sticking with talking about the inception of the band, like something I've talked about on the show loads of times in the past. I love bands with two vocalists. I think it's like the sickest move ever. One of my favorite bands that I first ever got into like weird heavy music was Sixth, and I thought two vocalists is just so cool. Like, according to the press notes, you were kind of the first vocalist, and then you brought in a second one. Was that always? Did you always have that idea in your mind? Like, no, this band needs to have that dual front man vibe, or did it? How did you kind of get to that point and decide to do that?
So when Hunter and I were talking about like making this band, he was already in talks with John, the original other singer, and like being like, yeah, we should do a band. And
okay.
like, so, and that was before he and I ever, like me and Hunter ever started talking about doing a band. They just hadn't like acted on it yet.
Right.
And so by the time that Hunter and I were like, toying with the idea of doing our own band together, and we're doing it saying that it's going to be Psycho Frame at the time, like we're going to make a deathcore band, and he was just like, dude, what if we two vocalist it and we just have John be the other vocalist? I was already talking about doing a band with him, and like John being the original singer of Vatican, and then I was the singer of Vatican after him. We were just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, like, so that was starting to formulate, like that was already in talks, like while I was still, having my time in Vatican at the time. And so it just kind of came together. It was like, it was just a thing. And of course, yeah, we were like, yeah, two vocalists, it's a deathcore band. Of course, like we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Despised
like,
icon.
Yes. Yeah. We were just like, yeah, we do the despised icon thing. We have two singers, and one guy does this, the other guy does this, so that they're distinct and know which one is happening, kind of thing.
When it comes to writing for that, how do you play it, sort of writing the lyrics? Is it like, because I mean the way that you perform it is phenomenal. Like you have, it's not just one line, another line. Like sometimes it's like one person starts it, one person finishes it, and there's like a cool like amount of interplay. It like sort of allows you to create just like such an inhumanly aggressive vocal that would be so hard to deliver live, like as one person.
Yeah.
So you get to sort of transcend human form really, and like become this absolute monster. Like how much fun is that, just writing it, like figuring out how hard you can go?
It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot easier than you would think, because like we spend a lot of time like really thinking about that interplay. Like, when we're tracking these things, like, yeah, there's like, there are takes where it's like, what you end up hearing is the final. Like, was there a version of the other guy doing his thing instead? Yeah, probably, because like we're down to hear it, see how it feels, things like that. But also, even whenever someone comes in and presents, their final draft of what they think the song is, and we're mapping it all out, laying it down, like everyone's open to any idea pretty much. And like, I'll come in with the intention of being like, I go here, you go here. And someone goes, no, let's chop it up and like split the duties this way. Then you have, what the final product ends up being. But like, at the end of the day, like we just want to make like whatever we think sounds exciting and cool, and like kind of just like keeps the road turning as we go. Mm-hmm. Because like, that's kind of like the flair of the band, is that like you're going fast and you turn fast, like you have like that's what like kind of makes it feel so like, I don't know, like electric, like to us when we're making it. So like, at the end of the day, we make a final decision. We're like, we hope that translates.
Yeah. And just doing that, like recording, obviously, you'll know that like recording vocals as a vocalist that's a single vocalist in a band can be quite like an isolating experience. You don't necessarily have as many people to play off as other instruments. So like you kind of do your job and you're like, okay, that's probably all right. But having somebody else there, are you guys like tracking both vocals on the same day and sort of you'll do a bit, he'll do a bit, and like you'll sort of work off each other and change things around?
Yeah.
It must just affect the final product so much better than like, the sort of things that are conceived in isolation.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly helpful because whenever, we're all in the same room. Like when it's time to track vocals, there's 4+ people in there, like it's both the singers and Hunter and Brandon, and then whoever else ends up in the room. Dave's in the room a lot as a 5th person while vocals are going on and stuff like that. And like, it does make us all push each other, like that wasn't it. Try doing this instead,
That's cool.
stuff like that. Like it is a group effort the whole way through. Cause as a single vocalist, like most anyone can tell you, it's like, it's you and the guy engineering. That's typically what's going down, the rest of the band probably is not in the room. Whether it's whether the band is doing it out of respect, because like there's plenty of people who like aren't comfortable tracking,
In front of
to
people,
an audience, none of us really care about that. Like, I'll track in front of 30 people that I don't know, I don't really care. Like you can watch how imperfect I actually am. Like, I don't really care because like, and none of us care because like at the end of the day, like the thing that we make at the end, like is very human. Like we're not like at the end of the day, like I don't like myself, I don't really get processed very much. Like the final product is not something that gets played with like really very much at all. And for a time, I thought that I was like, because if there's something humbling in this life, it's hearing yourself raw,
without any
coming back
reverb,
at you.
Yeah.
Without like a chain to make you sound pretty and things like that. Those things are humbling, and like, but like, I've like, I've been around for a second and I've made, like a decent number of releases at this point. And like, I feel like I've gotten just better over time. So then, like when we did our second EP, Automatic Death Protocol, I had bronchitis the whole time. And so like, so for me, that record is like a bit of a tough listen because I spend the whole time being like, wonder how great it could have been if I wasn't
that's
sick.
when you're like, thank fuck we have 2 vocalists.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, actually, you can have dibs on that, Bree. I'm gonna hit the bench on this one.
Someone's like, actually, I think I'm gonna hit this. I'm like, please be my guest. But like, I remember I was having a conversation with Hunter about that, and he was like, you don't like it? And I was like, I just think it about like more so like what could have been if like things like that. And I was like, I'm sure you had to do a lot of work on your end to make it sound good. And he was like, I didn't. Like, he's like, I can show you. That's a good file. Like, he was like, are you scared that you're not good at the thing that you do? And I was like, always. And he was like,
only every minute.
He was like, you're good at the thing you do. Like, I'll show you the raw file. Like, I barely did anything to you. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So like at the end of the day, even going into this record, like, man, what you see is what you get. Like there's no frills. Like, and like we are like such a technical shreddy band, like playing fast and everything. Like, again, I read comments, so I see negative ones too, you know, and I've seen, you know, the things where people say like, we're not doing things live, or like our drummer's not really playing that or whatever.
Well, that's just because he looks like the most casual drummer in the world. Like, that's not his fault, just because he could do everything without it looking like it takes him any effort. Like that,
That's just his face,
somebody.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just his face, though, because I promise you, he is absolutely in the trenches. Like,
yeah.
that's
Of course he is.
like it looks like he has a poker face, but that is his, like, you have no idea how hard I'm
Yeah,
concentrating.
he's in the zone.
Face. Like, because like it is hard. It is hard, and like honestly, like insane and almost counterintuitive to want to play in a band like this, because like,
yeah, could I just like go to work, not hit the 9 to 5, like play an easy band?
It's
I always like
heavy music
I always
equivalent
like,
of an ultra marathon,
you know,
isn't it?
you know, like you get
Yeah.
to the end of the, like you have like some drunk conversations. You're like, what band, like realistically, do you think like you could just be in for the rest of your life? And I'm like, imagine just being in Weezer. How easy that would be. Like,
I'm saying.
imagine you just tap out and just like be in Weezer. It would be.
I'm saying.
It would be like the chillest thing.
Yeah, like that is something that you can do. Like you can figure out an easier route for this thing. And we didn't decide to do that for better or for worse, because like, you know, every player that's on stage is like, they're fighting for their lives. Like,
Yeah.
and they're good at it. Like I know I'm speaking about my own band, but like when I speak about the individuals, like I'm like, these guys put in so much work to be this caliber of player. And like, so when someone tries to like say something that like, oh, they're you know, miming or like being like, I don't know, it's like fake in any kind of way, I'm like, I get offended on their behalf, because
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm like, you have no idea, like
You
how
have
much
no
work
idea
I
what
see
we're
these
going
guys
through out
put in. Like, you know,
all those mugs out there on the internet trying to claim that there's triggers or miming or any of that bullshit. You're idiots.
Yeah. Jog on, mate.
Absolutely.
Jog on.
Yeah. So coming around to the album, Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother. Possibly one of the hardest album titles I've ever heard. I absolutely love it. Like the guys, the sort of bands in your like revivalist deathcore scene do have a way with words. Like, I don't know if you've heard the title of the Thus Spoke Zarathustra album, which is called I'm Done With Self-Care, It's Time for Others' Harm. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But like the title and the kind of the lyrical themes and stuff, what it's I think you've kind of stripped it back a bit, haven't you? Usually there's a lot of like mysticism and metaphor, but I think you've kind of just gone straight for the jugular with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like a simple way of saying it is like death doesn't care, right? Like
Absolutely.
that's like what the title says in different words. And like, it's not something, that title isn't something that we had in mind going like into the process of making the record or anything. It was kind of the last thing that we actually landed on. And like, it's a lyric in a song on the record. It's the second to last track, Stillwater Salvation. So like that word salvation being the only thing that kind of like pseudo makes it a title track. And like, when you don't go in with an album name already in mind, that's kind of your only choice in a way, is be like, I need to pull from a lyric or pick one of these to be a title track. And we kind of just went halvesies on both, which isn't unheard of, you know, like it's just kind of what we landed on, because we probably had like 15 different names that were based on lyrics, you know, stuff like that. Or like, you know, we were like, what's the theme? And, you know, something that we say a lot on this record is violence. And like, so at one point, like the album was almost just called Ultimate Violence.
That would have been so sick.
That would have been sick.
It would have been cool, but we were just like, I don't know, like, is that like, there was like
not,
a like, I think
almost not trying hard enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it felt like a little too lowbrow, and also at the same time, like, we didn't want it to be, I don't know, like so self-indulgent. So we were just like, we got to figure something else out. And we landed on that. And like, I don't know, we were like, this reads good. This reads good. I was like, say it out loud for me a couple times, you know, like, how does it feel? And we were just like, yeah, I think this is it. And it's a mouthful, but you know, at the end of the day,
mouthfuls are inherently hard though. You like, every time I look at like Nile tracks, I'm like, this is the coolest shit ever. It's like a whole verse.
I am like a sentence guy. So like when it comes to like the title of a record or, you know, even a song, like I'm way into it. Like everyone always comes up with like a short version of saying it anyways, like when they're speaking about it. Like I don't picture someone in conversation one-to-one at a restaurant being like, have you heard the new Psycho Frame album, Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother? No one's going to say that out loud.
I will. So just for you.
Someone, like I'm more so, I'm like, have you guys heard Salvation Laughs? And I'm just like, yeah, you guys figure it out, you know? Like, but I love that kind of stuff. Like whenever I saw like the new Dowboys record and like it was called, you know, I Hope I Don't See You in Heaven, you know, I was like, that's cool, I'm in, you know, that's great.
Definitely.
Talking about lyrics and stuff on the record, so deathcore is not something known for half measures whatsoever, especially the sort of the style that you guys are playing. It's so brilliantly draped in the most deplorable, like heinous lyricism possible. It's just like outright hatred and brutal imagery. Like it's just so much fun. Like how much fun is it writing those lyrics for you? Like compared to sort of bands you might have been a part of in the past, like just coming up with creative ways to say the most horrible thing about someone.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work because I had to go through the lyric sheet and kind of like prep it, you know, for deliverables and stuff like that. So I'm going through, I'm doing typos, I'm doing grammatics, all the stuff, right? I also had to highlight every curse word.
I was about to say that. That's so funny. The lyric sheet, literally every word, every time it's fuck or shit is like highlighted in orange, and it's the best thing. I've never seen it. I look at lyric sheets like all the time.
That was my work.
It's the sickest, dude. It's the sickest idea like anyone's ever had. It's never been a thing. Like, I've read so many lyric sheets you would not believe, and it's the coolest lyric sheet I've ever seen.
The closest example I can think of is Fred Durst counting them in one of his songs.
I did get a final count, and for the sake of not wasting time of dead air on the show, like I'm not going to try and find the text, but I can promise you it is over 200 times. It's
respect.
Fuck, shit, damn, all of it. You know, like, I even had to Google like a couple times. I was like, "Is this considered a cuss word?" And I was like, "Okay, yes."
Trying to pump the numbers.
Yeah, I'm like, I just need. I just need to know.
Highlight balls.
Yeah. Like, so yeah. I mean, like, it is a lot of fun, and like there's a lot of things about it that are like funny. I won't lie, it's a lot of work because like the actual like word count at the end, you're like, okay, so across 11 songs, it looks like we have over 3,000 words. You know,
like basically written a dissertation. Yeah,
I mean, again, there's two guys, so like. You know, we're doing all these things like we talked about earlier to like keep the wheel spinning and the electric going, like, and how the band sounds. And I'm like, well, that comes with a lot of words. So like the volume is high, but like we do like have a lot of fun with it. And like, so like the idea of like, how do I say like the most, you know, like, what can I say that's like brutal and yet creative, more so ends up being like me. I'm just writing jokes. So nice. Like there's a laugh track on the fourth song on the record, Black Wave 2. And it's like going into like you know, our last like big mosh in the song, I kind of out of nowhere in this song introduce a third person, and I say, "We have your son," and he's running out of luck. And the way that we're like prepping tracks is like we do a scratch track where like guy comes in with the song, and like song plays into your ears, and you're just speaking your placement of the song. I'm like, I think it goes like this, you know, and I'm going through this whole song. I'm just one taking it, like, because I wrote this song, and out of no one read it before. It's not really something we do. Like we'll start to tear it apart after the fact. Like we get the scratch down and then we pick it apart. So the room is full, and I all the guys are there, and I say that part. I say, "We have your son, and he's running out of luck. Guns." And we had the room. Everyone just starts laughing all at once, and I didn't even necessarily know that I wrote a joke.
Guns might be the hardest mosh call just ever.
I have a big regret about that song, and it comes in this part because I say the lyric is guns aimed at heaven until the work is done. But the way the part plays out, it just is like guns aimed at heaven. We were joking in the studio, and Coulter was like, guns, money, bitches, power, like, and I regret it. I regret.
Is that going to sneak its way into a live performance, like just out of nowhere?
From now on, I'm sure.
That is something that we're going to do live. I promise.
Yeah, the guns, money, bitches, long sleeve is definitely on the table.
And is it completely unrelated and out of pocket? Like, yeah, but it's also funny and
like,
sick. It's so sick. Yeah,
and like it translated though in real life because Coulter was showing one of his friends because he did another tour after our last, and he was hanging out with those guys and he was showing them. And they all were like, "Oh, dude, guns, money," and we were like, "Fuck, they get it. We should have done it. It's cerebrally, it's already like this thing is already downloaded, and
that's what deluxe is. That's what the deluxe edition's for, baby.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. I'll get some parts moving, and I'll be like, this is like a bit of a remix on this one. So. Big regret not going forward with that and being like, no, we'll do this thing. This is how it is. And like, I don't know if it's too out of pocket and I regret it. But like, it's cool as it is. Like, I'm totally happy with the line. Like, I still think the whole thing like sounds good and like what I wanted, but like, dude, it would have been so fucking funny.
Yeah, undeniably, it would have been sick. I wanted to ask you about a couple of lyrics, like things on the record. Filleted and fucked, absolutely stonking. Just a phenomenal concept. Like that's what I was saying. It must have been so fun coming up with these. Like that track, like is brutally, unapologetically hateful. It's so, and the disgust feels so laser focused that like, was there a particular sort of behavior or subset of humanity that was where was the fuel burning from on that one?
Hatred. Like
it's general.
Yeah,
that's almost the best answer if you just say hatred and I just ask you another one.
Yeah, I mean it's just hate, man. Like, and like look, I'm a person, and like I have my own sense of like, oh, what's the word? There's a word for this. Like, you hate people. It's escaping me or whatever. Who cares?
Oh, like a bit of nihilism.
Yeah, like it's sort of like nihilism, but that's
Or-
like you don't believe.
Yeah,
it.
there's a very
No.
specific word though that
Okay.
it's like more than nihilism. I don't know. I'm a fucking knobber, so whatever. But anyways, like is there like a sense of like general hatred for humanity like on the record, and like maybe even specifically this song? Yes. And like you'll find that in songs like this one, you find that in God is Busy, all kinds of stuff. Like, again, like we're a deathcore band, and like the whole idea is like fucking, it's hatred, brutality, it's murder music. And it makes me think, my friend Matt, I was, hanging out in Discord with, a slew of people, and we were doing a thing where like they go down this like YouTube playlist of like metalcore that is just like from anywhere and everywhere, whatever. A lot of it's like gentcore, and we're not loving what we're hearing. And Matt said this thing. He said, "Listen, music, like breakdown music that is not about killing people is pretty much fucking worthless."
Yeah, it's
And-
basically pointless. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, "Yo, like I'm kind of
That's the
resonating."
shit.
Yeah,
That
like I
kinda
kind of
rules,
resonate. Like, that's not to say that like I haven't heard like a meaningful song in this space or something, but like,
No, but just the position of ignorance is inherently cool and funny.
yeah, and like that's just like that's kind of the only place that we come from is like
Nice.
we're just gonna write some like really hateful sounding stuff, and like we're gonna have fun with it. Like there's jokes, there's plenty of jokes going on in here. Like there's a lot of, and that's kind of existed the whole time the band started. Like you can go back to the first EP and like there's some like funny shit in there. And like so on ADP we had our friend Austin Coop, and he had some work on the LP as well, specifically Black Wave 2, but Austin helped produce with ADP and also was the guy who mixed and mastered it. And he said I remember Hunter told me, he's like, Austin asked me what the funny parts are. And I was like, oh, like he was like, that's something Austin loves. Like he loves when the jokes are coming in. Like he's like, that's what I want to hear. So it is something that I think we do pretty well.
Hell yeah. I mean, so you have all that brilliant sort of brutal brilliance with like jokes and stuff, and then there was something that I really really enjoyed in Stillwater Salvation, particularly because obviously that track, like as you're listening to it, and because I'm listening to it and reading the lyrics, I really like to do that when I get like a new album that I'm really excited for, because I just feel like the experience of the lyrics on the first listen is just, it just cements that record in you so much better. It's just a lovely way to go. And that track's got a really cool thing where it's, it's obviously about a guy doing himself in, the old hose in the car, he's dinging, and then he's like, it's like you expect him to just be dead, and he's like, oh, the serpent's got me, and I'm like, what was there, like a crocodile in the car, like what's going on? I'm like, that's actually kind of cool. And then I realized, obviously, it's not. It's the Ouroboros, isn't it? It's the snake eating the tail. It's the rebirth, and like it's just an incredibly cool concept. Like I thought that was such a really cool little novel idea of like, just instead of just saying like I'm fucking dead now, like I'm dead now. You're like, the serpent's taking me. It's so much more sick. I love it. I thought that was so sick, dude.
Yeah, and like that. I mean, that's kind of like it. Just I think what am I trying to say here? I think it is more so kind of like one of those songs where like it's like, again, it's like it is a guy doing himself in, right? But I think it more so speaks, it's like, oh, that's not the end. The suffering doesn't end, kind of thing. And like, again, it's the pseudo title track. So it's death doesn't care kind of thing. It's just like, oh no, it can get worse. Like it gets more grim than this. Like you don't like that. It's not the way out. In fact, there's no way out.
There's no easy ways out, guys.
Yeah.
That word you were looking for is misanthropy, by the way.
That is.
It just occurred to me.
Misanthropy.
Yeah.
That's the word. That's the word. That's the word.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just a person. I don't remember all of them, you know. So
I had to Google it. I'll be honest with you.
yeah.
I'll level with you.
Meanwhile, one of my favorite records of all time is literally called Misanthropy Pure. You know, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just don't. I don't remember all of this shit, man. I speak it. I don't know it.
It's all good. So yeah, you guys obviously you're very lucky to have a very good producer in your band in the form of Hunter. Google was inconclusive. I know you Google stuff these days, and it gives you like the AI answer. And I asked it who produced the album, and it told me something. I was like, I'm not sure if I trust that. I don't think I believe that that's true. But you do obviously you do a lot of stuff in house. Do you find that really helps with like keeping control over what you're doing and not having like outside influence kind of trying to persuade you to go different directions and try other things?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Like, and again, like it's not like it's only kept like within the house. Like, you know, like we have Austin Coop. Like we, you know, if we feel like we're stuck, like we will go to a breakdown scientist and be like, can you just like fix my brain about this like real quick? Because like I'm not like, you know, finishing, you know, I'm not hitting the home run on this one just yet. But like keeping it in-house is like pretty important to us because like we do want it to be like wholly our vision. And like, do we luck out in like having a producer in the band that is able to do a lot of different things? Totally. But like at the same time, like, you know, while, you know, we have Hunter as a producer, like he's not our sole songwriter either. Like our other guitar player, Dave, like contributed to all of the previous releases, but especially on this album, like he really showed out and like he did a lot of writing on this thing. So, and you know, what works out then is, you know, you have Dave like producing so much music out himself, like, and then Hunter and we as a whole can kind of come in and like, it really does finally become like a whole, like full band vision of the whole thing. And, you know, it's important to us. And I think, you know, obviously like the mixing and mastering is happening in-house as well. So like this doesn't touch another hand that like isn't trusted, you know, or isn't fam.
Yeah. There's like some exec's going to hear it and be like, you know what? You need a couple of organs in there, my dude.
Yeah. Like,
your snares are too loud. You're like, fuck you, my snare's not loud enough.
Like we've talked about like the idea, of course, like, do we go to somebody else? Like, does that make any sense for us? And like, we've toyed with it for sure. And like, we've had like people express like their interest in like working with the band. And not that they like couldn't do like an awesome job or anything. I just think, again, like we're just like, no, we're just going to stay true to like what we wanted to do from the beginning. And it's all us. So,
yeah. And that's just so respectable. Just like keeping more of a unit, just staying true to yourselves. You don't want other people telling you what's awesome. I mean, maybe someday, but you know, it's just the well of creativity and, you know, like what you guys have. I think you can dine on that for a while. I don't think, absolutely. you know, we're talking like, like I say, the band hasn't actually really existed for that long. People like, who was it? It's like Knock Loose, right? I don't really want Knock Loose to start sounding different. I just wanted to keep Knock Loose in. Like, I don't want the new Kubla Khan record to like go in a different direction. Like, there are certain bands that you just like, they've got the sauce. Like, why? Like, do not change the formula on the Big Mac sauce.
No, absolutely. And like those bands still do evolve though. Like just
definitely.
even those two mentioned, like those bands do evolve, and like it's visible, right? But they've stayed so very, very true to their core that those evolutions only feel like they make sense. Like
Yeah, natural.
they're just expanding the thing, you know, like it's not a thing where they're trying to reinvent their wheel. And like, I don't know, like it's respectable. Like, and bands
Absolutely.
can do that. Like they can reinvent their wheel, they can introduce new things, and those things can work. And there are plenty of bands I listen to that do those things.
Yeah.
But like, there are some bands, just like you said, I'm like, I don't really want you to do that. Like you kind of are already like the perfect version of the thing that you're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, and time has and will like kind of prove those things to be true for those bands. And yeah.
If Brian Garris started singing on the next Knock Loose album, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like,
Yeah. Like, you know, like as a fan, I'm just like, no, like personal taste, I don't want you to do that. You know, like you're ubiquitously known for being the guy who does this thing. Like you're the most like you're the most distinct person in the genre.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You've done the thing. You're already different, you know? So like, you know, personal take, right? You know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the album's out in a couple of weeks. I can't wait for everybody to get hold of it. It's absolutely sick, mate. I think you've just done an incredible job. What does the next sort of like few months? I know what the next few months looks like for you, because you're playing in
coming to our fair shores.
You're coming to our fair
Yeah.
shores, and the 2 dates that they are. We are at a festival in Manchester. It's so annoying.
Dark,
like
brutal.
It's brutal.
Damnation Festival is happening in the same goddamn city, and I was really hoping they might do a little merge of the two gigs, because it's like you're on the Malev with Speed, Dying Wish. It's like such a sick lineup.
Yeah.
And I'm just so bummed. I'm so bummed. We might have to see if we can do a big dog move, and like if there's a couple of hours where
duck back.
and that would be such a sick move
it.
to just get a taxi across the city to go watch Psycho Frame.
I mean, I can definitely get you guys in, so you don't have to worry about that. So like, you know, like that's a thing. But like, yeah, that tour is a banger. You know, that lineup is
Outrageous.
so good. Those
Really good.
Every one of those bands is doing their own thing, like in their own lane, so well, and like they're great live. Like it's just a good show. You know, like as a show goer, I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to see. You know, and even before that, you know, we're doing our tour with Boundaries, Stick to Your Guns, Gates to Hell, like
Another
Hell yeah.
absolute
Banger.
of a tour.
Banger.
And like, yeah, that's what we're doing. So the album comes out in a few weeks, and we're just like, we're gonna be playing. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play, and
Hell yeah.
we're already talking 2026. You know, what are we going to do? Who are we going to do it with? Who's already, you know, coming to the table with, you know, things that they want us to be a part of. And like, yeah, we're already in deliberations and making decisions. So like we'll be out there. That's the plan, is play in front of everyone we can.
Yeah.
And to the people that want it, to the people who didn't know they want it, and to the people who still don't want it.
Yeah. Just cover the bases. Yeah.
Yeah. So
amazing.
Like, that's the plan, is we're going to be out there, and we're going to be playing, and we're going to be, you know, fighting for our lives every night on stage, and trying to make it as cool and like exciting as possible. And like the only hope that we can have, you know, like we've done the work, right? Like it's getting ready to come out, and now the only work is like just being the best band that we can, and like going everywhere we can, and hoping that it translates, you know, and that people want to participate, and they are engaged and they're in on the band. So that's what we got going on.
Hell yeah.
That rules. That
That's
rules
sick,
so
mate.
much.
That is absolutely sick. They better get the paramedics on standby because it's going to be a messy one now.
Yeah, get the defibs, mate. Get the defibs in the car.
Yeah.
Just one more thing I wanted to say to you is that I think your cat's called Halo 3, and that's the sickest thing I've ever heard.
Dog. Yeah, she's
Even,
yeah, you're okay.
even better.
Even better.
We're both dog people,
Yeah,
to be
me
honest.
too.
We both got
Absolutely.
dogs. I don't know
Yeah.
why I said cat. Must have got it wrong. I mean, dogs are obviously infinitely better than cats, so that rules even more.
Yeah.
I had a son. He's 10 months old. I really wanted to call him Blood Gulch, but now he's named Maxwell, like an idiot.
Yeah. Could have been sick as fuck. Sorry, kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have just been Gulch to all your friends, and there's like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
you
like
want to
that
hear
is-
the rest of his first name?
Blood Gulch Battle Rifle. It was
Yeah.
going to be the full name.
Yeah, could have been sick, but now you're just a guy. That's your destiny.
Now you're just a regular old guy,
Yeah,
just a regular human.
But yeah, my dog's name is Halo 3. She is
Love it.
It's so
a fucking
cool.
sweetie, and I don't play about that dog. I love that dog. And,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I named her after my favorite game because when we originally got her, we got her from the Humane Society, a shelter, and her name was Katara when we first got her, and we were like, yeah, not really what we think her name is, and
Like, what is she in the Avatar?
yeah. So the back of her neck, like her fur, like she has a big white spot, and it is an arrow. Like I see what they were going for, I get it. I get it. It's cool, but it doesn't feel right. And whenever we were going to get a dog, I had been playing around with the idea of calling a dog Bonesaw for so long, from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
From Spidey,
Yeah,
from
hell
Macho
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Bonesaw's ready.
Bonesaw.
Yeah. I thought it was sick. But I, upon meeting her and, just her personality, I was like, it's not Bonesaw. That's not who you are. Like, we'll figure it out. And my wife actually landed on Halo 3. And
That's amazing.
For
Was she
like
your wife at that
24
point, or did you immediately wife
was
her
that-
as soon as she said Halo
You
3?
proposed to her
Already.
the second that happened.
Yeah, no, already things were proven to me well before this, but I receive affirmations as it goes on,
Nice. Yeah.
But she came up with the name, and I sat on it for like 24 hours. I called her Halo a couple times, and like it all. I think I've never named any of our dogs like that I had like growing up or anything. So this is my first time naming,
It's nice to finally get something. You're like, I'm going to name the hell out of this.
Yeah. It was like kind of weird to be like, I'm naming you, like this is what
Quite
you're going to be
intense.
known as.
Yeah.
And so it took me like a day or two to kind of like really settle on it. But then like it so obviously like became Halo after that point. And yeah, she is a sweetie. She's a crazy dog, and I love her. I don't play about that girl.
Hell yeah, man.
Absolutely
Amazing.
sick, mate. Absolutely.
Well,
sick.
I don't think it can get any sicker than that. I think that's the sickest place to leave it on on an awesome dog with an awesome name. This has been so much bloody fun, Mike. Thank you so much. We love the band, we love the record. Really, really thankful for a slice of your time, mate. This has been lovely.
Absolutely. Again, the show's been on my radar for years. You were the first guys outside of my country to ever give notice to the things that I was ever doing. And so when I saw the name show up on the requests, I was like, absolutely. And, I remember someone asked, they were like, oh, do you like know this show? Like I'd never heard of this, and I was like, no, I have to do this. These were the guys that first put these guys were the first people to ever put respect on my name. So
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, absolute pleasure. If you've enjoyed this, please give us a little sub or a like, or write some comments about how absolutely sick Psycho Frame and Mike are. Yeah, we're always here talking about brilliant music. Sometimes we talk to brilliant people. Mostly we talk about phenomenal new riffs. Well, I think we'll be talking about this album Improper when it does come out, and I can't wait. Yeah, this has been so much fun. Thanks again, Mike, and we'll see you all next bloody week.
Peace.
Peace.